Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 3DO Experience, the 3DO retrospective podcast, where we talk about all things 3DO, the 3DO company, and everything in between. Although we're probably not going to be talking much 3DO today. I am Bill, and this is Thrak. How you doing, Thrak?
Ho, 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 and a jolly Kwanzaa to you, Bill. I am doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing well. I've been on vacation for about half a week now. I'm still like my sleep schedule is so messed up from like working night shift that like I'm all over the place, but it's been relaxing to say the least.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I've been off work the last couple days, but it's been busy around here. So, like this week is, it's still going to be kind of busy. So, basically I won't get like a real nice break until Sunday. Because then, like
Yeah.
Sunday through Wednesday, basically like the final couple days of the year, and then into the first will be like my proper like, okay, like I'll have to do shit for like a handful of days, and it's gonna be not fantastic. But
Yeah.
but yeah, but it's been chill, holidays weren't too bad. Got a couple neat gifts. Nothing terrible happened. Like nothing blew up. It didn't turn into Lampoon, so everything
Yeah.
was good.
Yeah. I just got back. I did our annual drive to our parents' house, 2 hours there, 2 hours back. It was fun. Saw the family, got to hang out. We watched Christmas Vacation like we always do. Um, Shared gifts, ate a lot of food, and then I went home and fell asleep. Actually, I went home last night and I chatted with Tony in Danny's server for like 4 hours last night, just shooting the
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, I saw you guys are sitting in there. I just didn't feel like hopping in.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, it was relaxing because I was so hyped up on caffeine, I could not sleep.
you needed something.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, another Christmas in the bag. Nothing too crazy. So, like
Yeah,
I'm glad I'm past that point where it's like I'm not like upset I didn't get what I wanted anymore. Because I think we all kind of go through that phase when we're younger. And so I'm at that point where I'm like, any gift I get, I appreciate it. Doesn't matter what it is.
yeah,
Like all these fucks, like you, fucking Aaron, Tony, and fucking Jelly, like all bought me shit. Bought me fucking games. I mean, thank you all. It was very nice. But now it's like, at first I already had too much to play. Now I have too much more to play now, and I got to fucking prioritize all these.
oh yeah,
So I got quite a bit, man. I got like Balatro, Cyberpunk, Phantom Liberty, Alan Wake 2, Disgaea, fucking shapeshifting. I made a list of it somewhere, but it's like I think it's like I almost got like a dozen games now. Like, thanks, assholes.
yeah. I got a few
I
from
mean that lovingly.
you know, yeah, because I got a few from Aaron and Tony as well.
I got you a couple.
Oh, true, true. Yep, you did at Oh yeah, when we were playing Bomberman, when
Yeah,
we were just all gifting each other.
basically what I did is I went to everybody's wish list and found like the cheapest shit and just got you a couple of those.
Yeah,
So, except Jelly, I bought her. What did I buy her? I bought her Penny's Big Breakaway because I was telling her to play it, and it's very like Sonic like. So now she has a reason. Then she bought me Pizza Tower. So
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, Tony
Eh,
got me Pac-Man World remake, which was nice. And
oh,
then
nice. That is a very solid game.
I've played it on Switch. I've never played the PC version though, so I'm curious to check that out.
My guess is it'll run better.
Probably. And then Aaron got me Chrono Trigger and Orsetta Corsa, which is a racing game.
Oh, cool, cool.
So that'd be fun to mess around
Oh
with.
yeah. And I also discovered on Steam that my email was linked to an older Steam account I had from like 10 years ago that I hadn't touched since I think the last time I touched it was like 2017 or something like that.
Hmm.
So I was like, can I merge these together? And they were like, no, but you can do this like family share thing where you just put yourself on like a family thing so you can share games. So I was like, oh, bet. So I went ahead and did that. So now, like, I actually have like a Steam library. I have like 84 fucking Steam games now.
That's
Um,
not bad.
well, 83. One of them in here is a Epic Games launcher because I put the Epic Games launcher in there because I was trying to get a game to run and it wouldn't do any controller support. But I guess there's a way to circumnavigate it where if you do like Steam input and then launch Epic through that, it'll read like the Steam input. So that's how I got controller support, which is
Nice.
really annoying, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, but now I can play Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons again because I bought that forever ago, and apparently I got all the achievements. I have no memory of this game other than like, oh yeah, I did play that, but
Nice.
yeah, I think it got a remake, didn't it?
I believe it did because I have that on the PS3 still in my like PS3 like hard drive,
Okay,
which is
interesting.
always fun to see.
Yeah, and then I saw I bought like Call of Duty 2 and Call of Duty 1 and Call of Duty United Offensive. And I'm like, I actually like played through all those games on like a shittier laptop. Cool. Um, but you know, and for some reason I have a game called Hell Yeah. I don't know if you've ever heard of this game.
No,
It's literally a game just called Hell Yeah, and it's like a 2D platformer thing. I have no idea why I own this game, but I do.
Steam
So
sale. The only answer is always Steam
I mean,
sale.
I guess, but like I have no memory of buying it, so it is what it is. But oh yeah, and I have Jet Set Radio on here because I bought that on Steam forever ago.
Oh yeah,
So
during Sega's like very brief, like, look, we care about the Dreamcast, and then they just proceeded to
yeah,
stop caring about the Dreamcast.
yeah. So I still have it, even though it got delisted recently. I still have it. So, and speaking of Sega delisting stuff, there's not a lot of like news stuff, but there was something I saw relating to Sega that I thought was interesting. Well, the first one was they're not planning to do any more of those like retro mini consoles, which is weird because I think it was like a year ago they were asking people if they wanted, if they're like, do you still want more of these? And now they're like, no, no more, no more. Um, I honestly, I think it's fine. Like the retro mini consoles are cool, but like how many people actually like use them? You know what
Not
I
many.
mean?
Mine might have been
Yeah.
living on a shelf for like since I moved into my house. So
Yeah, like my Genesis Mini is like down there. It's basically just like a display piece. Like I remember I hooked it up, messed around with it. I probably beat Sonic 1 or 2 on it. And then I bootlegged it, added a bunch of games to it, and just went, oh, this is cool. And then I unplugged it and just kind of went back to doing whatever. You know, like they're all cool, but I think people would just prefer like a collection of those on like whatever, like PC
yeah,
or console, or you know what I mean. Um, but like as much as I would love like a mini Saturn, just because I'd be curious to what games they would throw in that thing, or even Dreamcast, like I'd be curious to what games they think would fit for like a mini console for either one of them. But we'll never know, you know. And they did that Genesis Mini too, but not many people bought that. I think like
no.
they're trying to be like, oh, it has like Lunar. I think it had Lunar on it.
I believe only the Japanese version had Lunar, which pissed a lot of people off. And I think people boycotted it because of that.
Okay, well, because they were throwing Sega CD stuff in there, which was cute, but you know, whatever.
Well, actually, I remember now the reason why it didn't have the Japanese version had Lunar, the American version did not because working designs. The guy who I think Victor Ireland like put the kibosh on it because he still technically owns the rights to it, which is part of the reason why it's taken so long for the Lunar remasters to come out.
Yeah, isn't he a bit of a dick?
Um, I have I don't know to be honest. Like, so shameless plug here, but Retro Hangover podcast did an interview with him recently. Like, that's really interesting. He comes off as a dick, but also he's kind of interesting, and that's why I'm kind of like, I don't know. He's a character. That's like the best way I'll put it.
Yeah, fair enough. So, but we are getting that Lunar remaster collection, so you know we'll see if that's worth your time or not.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if it's a version of Lunar 2 that you don't have to break the bank to get. I mean, that's
Or
fair enough.
sail the seven seas.
Yeah, true.
It is what it is, man. Maybe he wised up and was like, "Hey, let's see if we can actually get some money off of these things." You know,
Well, apparently it's
might as well.
they're not the working designs versions, which I mean, to be fair, those translations have not aged well. I love them, but they have not aged well at all.
Yeah, that's man. Time
So,
period. I get it. I get it.
oh yeah.
So, but
Speaking
yeah,
of old RPGs, though, I did recently get I got a Nintendo store card, and I finally bought Fantasian, whatever the subtitle is. So
Oh, Neo Dimension.
Neo Dimension.
I completely forgot about that because so much stuff was happening.
Yeah, I
I
saw it on
forgot it
the.
was coming out. I think it reviewed okay.
Yeah, it did. I mean, the biggest complaint people had was it looks like a mobile phone game, which it is.
Yeah, yeah, it's fair enough.
So I was like, okay, so the biggest complaint is that it's exactly what it is. Okay.
Did they add some content in there to kind of like merge the two, like more effectively?
I think so. I haven't really played much of it yet. I just got
Okay.
it downloaded last night.
Yeah, its Metacritic is an 80 and the user score is an 8.2, which is that sounds about right.
Yeah.
So I'll get it at some point. You know, I got so many games, but I was bringing up Sega because there was another thing related to the mini console thing.
Right.
Which apparently this is from VGC, my go-to. Sega says it's weighing up launching its own gaming subscription service. So I guess the idea is Sega is probably looking at like Game Pass, EA Play, Ubisoft Plus, and I think Rockstar has one, don't they? Like
Yeah.
Rockstar or whatever. Basically, they're seeing if, and even Nintendo technically with NSO. I guess they're looking into seeing if they could do that themselves. It's weird because like I've been thinking about it, and I listened to Gertzman's take on it as well, and I don't know how you would do this. You know what I mean? Like it's weird that like EA and Ubisoft did it. I mean, I don't know who really uses it. I mean, I have EA Play through Game Pass. Otherwise, I wouldn't have EA Play. And Ubisoft, the same way with Ubisoft. Like, I don't have it because I really don't think it's worth my time, especially when Ubisoft games go on sale so much anyways. And there's like maybe a handful of them I actually care about. You know, like say like a new Assassin's Creed, or if they do like a Rayman game or something like that. Outside of that, I don't care. Like, but Sega, I fucking love Sega, as you guys can see by my Sonic shirt. So it's like I'm intrigued by it, but I think it comes down to like where is it going to be, how much is it going to cost, and what the hell's going to be on it. Because it's a case of if they're just doing it for their retro stuff. If it's like, hey, here's like all of our stuff from like the Master System to the Dreamcast, it's all here, and you'll pay like maybe $10 a month for like a wide variety of stuff that's just like right there, you know, and maybe they add stuff later or whatever, but you know, maybe sure, I guess, you know, like if this is how we get like Saturn games on modern consoles, you know, I'd be fine with that. Because if it was just like say their new stuff, right? Because the CEO of Sega's did the whole like we're not a retro company, we're focusing on the new shit, pal. So it's like if it's just the new stuff, it's like paying a subscription for like Sonic, Yakuza, Persona, Total War. Like doesn't sound that bad, but how many people would sign up for that? And it would probably be really expensive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially if like I mean you're never going to get away from like the diehard physical collectors who are going to buy all the games physically no matter what.
Yeah.
But I can see maybe like some diehard Sega fans being interested.
Yeah. I mean, I am a diehard Sega fan. I think it depends on how they want to do it. Because if they're because I think Sega they're at a point now where they realize they have like a pretty solid like fan base of people, right? Like the Sonic fan base is pretty solid. I mean, you could argue the Sonic IP is like bigger and better than it's ever been because the movies have been doing really well and the last couple game releases were pretty solid. So like Sonic seems to be in a nice healthy spot right now. Like a Dragon is blowing up, you know, like it feels like every year, every new game, it just keeps getting more and more fans, you know, like it converted me, right? And it's converting more and more people. And then you have, you know, Atlas, good old RPG reliable with, you know, Persona, SMT, Metaphor did really well. And I wouldn't be surprised if next year in 25 we get the unveiling of Persona 6 and that's going to be a big fucking deal, right? So
the creator of Metaphor also just came out saying that this could potentially be a series. So
I had a feeling Metaphor would be like a new series for them. So like, they have Atlas there, being reliable. And then, the Like a Dragon studio is like, oh, we're doing a new Virtua Fighter and we're going to make a new IP as well. So Sega is in this like real good spot with like all the new stuff, right? Like if they're going to hang on like Sonic, Like a Dragon, and then Atlas, like for the new stuff, they'll be good for a while. But even though it's like they don't want to be a retro company, I understand that. But they have such like that wealth of IPs that we all know and love that we associate Sega with. Like people don't associate Sega with Persona. Like not
No.
really. Like it's maybe starting to get there a little bit more because like when we see that stuff, there's the Sega logo on it. But
Well, that's why they don't put the logo directly on the front of the cases. They always it's on the back in like this little tiny
yeah,
spot. They let
I feel like they
Atlas
should just
keep their
put
brand.
it on there, or at least like put Sega and Atlas on there. But it's not that big a deal. Sega's getting the money anyways. So but there is that initiative where they're trying to bring back some of the old IPs and make new games of them, and hopefully those do really well also. Um, yeah, I feel like Sega is almost trying to kind of do like a Capcom thing where they're starting to kind of branch out and try to do these other things to try to get beyond their fan base and get and reach more. I think is what they're trying to do, but I don't know how like a new Jet Set Radio does that. You know what I mean? Or like a new Crazy Taxi. Like as much as I want those, and we'll probably play them, regardless.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't know what you do to break out of that. You know what I mean? Well, they are working on an Alien Isolation sequel, which I think people kind of forgot about that. It hit like the 10-year mark, and Creative Assembly's like, oh yeah, we're doing a sequel. It's got greenlit, so they're working on it. So I don't know, but like Sega's in a good spot. Like I'm not worried about them at all. It's just seeing this subscription service idea has me going like, I'm not sure what they're going to do with it, unless they're like looking at what NSO's been doing
Yeah.
and seeing what they could do that with their retro stuff. And there's a lot they could improve upon with it. So if maybe they take their idea of NSO, put it on all the platforms, and make it like really attractive and really affordable, then it's like, oh, the retro stuff is just there now. They don't have to do this weird delisting and relisting every couple years or whatever the fuck. So who knows? Who really knows? But for some reason, I've thought about this a lot.
It's really we kind of have to see. They need to either give us more info, or we have to at least kind of see what their exact idea is going to be. Because at the moment now, it's just kind of subscription. It's weird because the term subscription service is now kind of starting to turn people away because they've kind of companies have ruined it like they do with everything. So
it's been done to death, and I feel like we're hitting that point where like streaming services are gonna like they're gonna start to plateau and really hit some sort of mark where like people are just kind of sick of them. Because I mean, hell, people complain about owning stuff when it comes to video games, and there's a lot to be said about that. But you're starting to see that spill over into like movies.
Oh yeah,
and like even TV as well. Like there are people who are now going out of their way to buy like DVDs of movies because they're like, hey, I would like this movie, and I'm tired of like trying to watch it and having to go through like 15 subscription services to see if it's even there, and then it's not. So they're just like, how much is that DVD? Like $5? Fuck it, I'll just buy it, and then I'll just pop it in like my PS5 or my Xbox or whatever and just watch it. Like there's a reckoning of the subscription services when it comes to that stuff.
Well, we went from trying to escape from cable just for these companies to literally become cable again.
Yeah, basically, it's like a more expensive cable, but like you have slightly more control over what you can watch. Like you're not subservient to like, oh, this thing only comes on at this time. You can watch whatever you want, but then it comes to like, oh, is the thing I want to watch even there?
Yeah, like because like you buy Max, and it's like, okay, I'm a huge DC fan. I buy Max to watch all the DC stuff. Oh, they took all the DC stuff off. Well, why did I buy Max? It's like
yeah. So, like the only reason I have Paramount Plus is for all the Star Trek stuff,
and that's starting to disappear now too.
Yeah, fucking great. I did not know that. You ruined my day.
Well, only the spin-off shit. I think the main series are all still there, but like
like the classic Trek, they can't get rid of that. I think they just own it outright, and it would be stupid to get rid of it.
Yeah,
but
I know like a lot of
you're literally burning money not doing that. So yeah, it's weird, and like and it's like gaming is like slowly going to like the more and more digital thing. I mean, PC's already all digital anyways. So,
Yeah.
oh,
Then we got
oh,
Switch,
sorry,
where it's just
I
all.
froze for a second.
Oh, we're good.
Oh,
I think we're good.
okay, okay, all right. So, but yeah, like PC's all digital these days with Steam, right? And it's so crazy how like people complain about the lack of or like this push to digital on console when it's like PC's been doing it for like almost 2 decades now and it's been perfectly fine. The circumstances are different. And Valve is much better about making sure people have their games than
Yeah.
some other places. I mean, games have disappeared from Steam. They have. Like I think Ubisoft pulled like I think it was like an Assassin's Creed game a couple of years ago. Just some random ass. They just pulled it, and Valve. I don't think Valve wanted them to do that, but they were just kind of like whatever, I guess. Um, so and yeah, like the Switch still has its like physical fan base. So I
I
don't know.
think a lot of it has to do with like console gaming. The mentality is just different because like a lot
Yeah,
of console gamers like the idea of taking the disc, putting it in the console. It's just like
yeah.
it's like a mental thing at this point.
Yeah, and I don't know if people remember the like buying a physical PC game. I do.
I still have
That
a bunch of them.
they were a nightmare
Well, you
because
got to
they all
put in your
came with like
code.
well, you have to put in your code. They all came with like 16 discs, and like most of them were just to install the thing on your computer. The only good thing about them was like those big boxes were cool, and you'd usually get like these real big manuals that were like full color and like because I remember I got Age of Empires 3, and that was like as thick as like a book, that manual, and it was awesome. So
I mean, I still remember getting SimCity 4 and my fucking computer just fucking shitting itself because that game is still hard to run even today.
yeah, I've heard. So, and Steam has provided like a much better alternative to all that stuff. It fixed a lot of the issues with like physical PC games. So I get it, and again, like Steam is pretty solid. Like it's the one. Like it's so good that like the people who don't want monopolies anywhere else want a Steam monopoly.
Yeah, it's
Like
funny
that's
how
just how good Steam is.
it's funny how the anti-monopoly people will like look their other way when it comes to Steam because Steam just does
Yeah,
it right.
yeah, I think it's because like Valve wouldn't abuse that, or at least I don't think they would because they've been doing just fine for a long time, and
They
like
they've had the
and like
opportunity to and they still haven't. So
yeah, and Gabe's not a shithead, you know, like it was just kind of like they were a developer and they just kind of had this side idea that became everything, and they're like, oh well, let's just like handle this pretty well, and they handle it so well that people are like, kill Epic, kill like every other. Some people even say kill GOG, and I'm like, don't kill GOG.
yeah, GOG's like
GOG
the
needs
only
to stay.
other one that really does it well.
Yeah. Well, and also GOG has a bunch of games that Steam doesn't have,
Hmm.
and GOG is better about preserving stuff than Steam is. So, and I don't know how GOG gets away with it half the time. I really don't, but I'm glad that they
GOG
do.
is weirdly under the radar a lot of the times because like Steam kind of like when people think PC gaming, they think Steam.
Yeah.
GOG kind of gets overshadowed, which is probably for the better.
Well, I think it's because GOG, most people view GOG as like that's where they get their old ass random PC shit that is non-Steam. It's always like go to Steam. If it's not there, go to GOG. And then if it's not there, go to like My Abandonware. And then that's where it is. Or you could just go to My Abandonware, and if the game is up on a storefront, My Abandonware will just link you to it.
Yeah.
Which is nice. That's probably how they don't get in trouble.
Yeah.
They're like, if the game is available, it's like, here's the link, go buy it. And usually it's like $2 or whatever. But yeah, I like GOG. GOG's really nice. Because I know when the Resident Evil bundle hit GOG, that was a big deal. Like people were, because it was the original versions of 1 through 3 that I think people thought they would never re-release again because of the remakes, and then they just put them on GOG, and they're in that like preservation program where it's like you buy those on GOG, you own the original versions. Like Capcom can't take them away from you.
Yeah.
So, because I think it was a while ago, I think Blizzard tried to get GOG to remove. I think it was like Warcraft 1 and 2 from there because they're going to do a remaster of them. And I think GOG was kind of pushed back and was like, no, We're not going to get rid of them.
Well, especially after how Blizzard horribly handled the Warcraft 3 remake.
Yep.
I don't think anyone trusts them again after that, even though the Diablo 2 remake was pretty good.
Hopefully they learn their lesson with Warcraft 1 and 2. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't played those games. I don't really have interest in them, but, hopefully they learn their lesson. But yeah, good old God, good old games.
So in other news, we've been doing our weekly updates on this, but unfortunately no new Nintendo music right now.
Nope. But we're at that time now where I think we can start thinking genuinely about the Switch 2's unveiling.
It's coming sooner or later.
Well, I listened to Gertzman today, and I guess somebody had said that ironically, this is almost like a leak, but they're like, Nintendo is well aware of all the Switch 2 leaks right now, and they're so pissed off about it. There's a chance they may push up the announcement like ahead of time to sort of just like put all that shit to bed and be like, here's what it is. Like people were suggesting, I don't think it's true, suggesting they could do it as early as the 6th, like the first Monday of January. Just like, here's the Switch 2 video. Here it is. I don't think it'll be that early. That would be crazy. Could you fucking imagine?
Yeah, I know. It's honestly like they don't even have to announce a release date. They just show the thing, and that'll get people to calm down a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, we'll hear it before April, as they've confirmed before. Like, I was thinking February, sometime in February would be like around like direct time. But I mean, hell, there's a chance they could like say sometime in January, put the video out. Because I imagine that like that Switch 2 trailer, much like the Switch 1 trailer, it's already in the can. It's ready to go. It's just a matter of uploading it and like hitting publish on it, basically. So but yeah, it's getting to that time where they're gonna hopefully put all this shit to bed and we can find out what the Switch 2 actually is.
Yeah.
My guess is it's just a more powerful Switch that instead of like that weird capture button, it's just a C button and it does the exact same thing. That would be my guess. Because there was rumors of like, oh, the capture button's gone, but there's like this mysterious C button where it was. And I'm like, oh, that's probably still a capture button. They just redesigned it.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess.
It's not the screenshot button anymore. It actually does shit now.
Yeah, potentially. But yeah, from all like the leaks we've seen of like, oh, here it is in the factory, and like people making cases for it and shit and all this other stuff. It most likely the form factor and everything's going to be the exact same. It's just going to be a more powerful Switch, which I think is the safest, smartest thing to do. But at the same time, it's not going to sell as well.
Probably not, because I know a lot of people who already have Switches. A lot of people are perfectly content with the Switch the way it is, and they really aren't going to upgrade right away.
Yeah, I think a lot of the Switch's fan base is, casual people, and they're pretty content with their current Switch, be it just the thing they play Mario on, or that thing they put a couple hours into before bed, or whatever, right? Like the only people who are really upset with it are like, I don't know, people more like us who play games more regularly and have more issue with how these games look and run, especially when it's like you see how Pokemon runs on this thing, and it's like, why does Pokemon run like this? Like you wouldn't think it's like their most successful IP with how shitty they treat the game sometimes.
I don't even blame Nintendo for that. I blame Game Freak more than anything, but
even still,
that's my problem with Game Freak.
You'd think they want to put more effort into that.
You'd think, but then the games sell like fucking crack, and they're just like, oh, I guess it's fine.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's
the Pokemon fan base is its own fucking can of worms.
It's a toxic piece of donkey turd. But in any case, but yeah, hopefully the next Switch, it needs games to like go with it for anybody to actually care, I think.
I know Metroid Prime 4 is definitely, I have a feeling we've talked about it before, but that's gonna be like it's gonna be like the Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I have a feeling that'll be it'll. I don't know if it'll be their day one. I mean, it might be their day one, but I think it'll be like the big cross gen game. Yeah, it's like Breath of the Wild to be like, oh, this like you can play this on the older system, but we'd really like you played on the new one because look how fucking cool it is on here, right? Um, and then, but that can't be the only thing it launches with because I don't think that'll help. Um,
They've been working on a new 3D Mario, but we have yet to hear
oh
anything about it.
yeah. Oh, we know for a fact that there's a 3D Mario being worked on. You know, it just makes too much sense. Um, but yeah, it'll probably launch day and date. I think. Like I think yeah, 3D Mario and then Metroid Prime because there are some people saying like, oh, maybe it should launch with Mario Kart, the next Mario Kart. And I'm like, I don't think it will.
If there is a next Mario Kart, I'm,
I'm sure that team is working on something, but what? Who knows? Like Nintendo's been so quiet for the last like couple of years when it comes to their releases. I mean, there's been some kind of big stuff here and there, but I think outside like once we got past Tears of the Kingdom, that was like the last big game. And now it's just been like a bunch of remakes, remasters, and some like, you know, smaller, lighter titles here and there. Because you can tell, like, oh, like the main teams, they're working on the next thing, you know, and whatever the next thing is, well, we will find out, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if I'm going to be a day one Switch 2 buyer, but
it depends on what is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
like
if it's just Metroid Prime 4, I might wait because as much as I'm going to play Prime 4, I'm not that desperate to play it. That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I wish they would put Metroid Prime 2 and 3 on there.
Yeah.
Or at least on the regular Switch, the Prime 2 and 3 remastered, so I could actually play those. Because I've only played Prime 1, so I like to play 2 and 3 beforehand. That would be nice. Yeah, like if the next 3D Mario looks fucking awesome, I'll probably be there day one, but that'd probably be the only thing that really gets me over the hump. And also it depends on the price point as well. Because
True.
Who knows what they're going to charge for that thing? My guess is they'll probably try to do $400.
Yeah, I mean that's not terrible next to the competition. I will say.
Yeah, the $1,000 PS5 Pro. Yeah, a $400 Switch 2 looks really nice in comparison to that.
Yeah.
So,
I'm curious how much games are going to cost. That's my thing. I'm wondering.
Yeah, I watched. Oh, what the hell is his name? It's like the blue puppet guy. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He does. He mainly talks about Nintendo stuff. Hold on. Arlo. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Arlo did a thing about like the pricing of it, where he's like, you know, they experimented with it with Tears of the Kingdom because they knew they could get away with charging $70 for that game. Yeah. And they did.
Oh yeah,
they
definitely did.
And he made an argument about like why Nintendo's like priced everything at 60 this generation. And I think that was in an attempt to put all of their games on like an even playing field where it's like they're all treated the same level of importance. So it's like they're, you know, like so that they're all 60 because, you know, they're all worth $60, you know, when that's obviously not the case. But I think it's just Nintendo trying to do marketing psychology on people. So, and I don't think they'll make every game $70 on Switch 2 because nobody else does.
No, it's one of those things right now where 70 is like, to me, like that's got to be like the max, because like the closer you get to 100, once games are $100 a piece, I think people are going to start finding alternative things to do with their time.
Some games can get away with it. Like Metroid Prime 4 will be $70.
Probably.
And a lot of the diehards will show up for it. I wouldn't be surprised if the next 3D Mario is $70. Wouldn't be surprised. And depending how awesome it is, I mean, I'll fucking pay the 70 for it, whatever. Because, you know, Odyssey and Bowser's Fury were so good. I'm curious to what they have cooking up in the tank. And if the rumors of like a 3D Donkey Kong game are true, and maybe it's like a weird 3D Mario Donkey Kong thing, like if that's what it is, and it looks amazing and it's 70, here you go. I'm there, right? Like games have to earn being $70, I think. You know,
I will
hell,
say,
GTA 6 is going to be $70, and it's going to sell like 100 million copies.
oh yeah,
but
I
it's
will.
GTA.
I will say the $70 price of games has slowed down my game purchasing significantly.
Yeah, I think it slowed it down for a lot of people, and that's why I think the industry didn't just adopt it the way they adopted $60 games. Because I think it was in the 360 era when games went to 60.
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, I vaguely remember it like being a thing, because back in those days I was in elementary into middle school. I didn't think about the pricing of stuff. I just wanted it, right? I remember when I got my 360, I was like, oh, I want Call of Duty 2, because I had seen the gameplay of it. It looked fantastic. I still love that game to death. I want to play it on Game Pass, god damn it. But in any case, I took like one of my family members who went to GameStop, and I was like, oh, I want Call of Duty 2, and they're like, oh, that's $60. They said it in a way that was like, what? Like when games increase in price, and I was just like, oh, but I want it. They got it for me, which was very nice of them. So, but like in that 360 era, everything became $60, and I'm sure there were people bitching about it, but not to the degree people are bitching about 70 now. And I think that's why 70 isn't the standard. There are quite a few games and series that have adopted the 70 just to like sports games or whatever. Like they're 70, and that kind of is what it is, right? But I'm sure all these companies, I mean, depending on what marketing sales data they have, but I wouldn't be surprised if they saw, because of that price hike, most people are just waiting for just discounts to buy it. And I feel like you see sales happen faster now than ever before. Like a game will come out and it's $70, and then in a month's time, they've marked it down to like $55.
Oh yeah, like most
just
PlayStation,
like right away.
Most PlayStation games, like legit.
Not even PlayStation, like third-party stuff, like hell today.
Well, I just mean like PlayStation console, like games released on PlayStation.
Yeah, because like hell today, like on my Xbox, I had a little ad that was like, "Oh, Black Ops 6 is 25% off," and I'm like, "Already?" Like that game's not that old. Like, oh shit. I feel like sales are happening quicker, which that also could be like the Steam influence, because I think like the Steam sales have really changed the habits of how people buy games, like genuinely.
Yeah, because it's like even Nintendo is like they are the steadfast, like stubborn mules of gaming, where they will fucking Mario Kart fucking 8 is still 60, and it probably always will be.
It's crazy because before that they were way better about it. Like the Wii U 3DS era, the Wii era, like they were pretty good at marking games down. Like they didn't fucking care, but they were just trying to get games out the door. But now with like the Switch, they can't keep the games in stock even now. So when people always make that argument, it's like, well, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, how much is that sold on Switch? As of September 30th of this year, 2024, it has sold almost 65 million units.
That has got to be one of the best-selling Mario games.
And 99% of those games were sold at full price. They've done that occasional sale thing where it's like, oh, it's like $42, which honestly, $40 for Mario Kart 8 is not bad.
No, that's a good deal.
Or you could do like the voucher thing where it's like you spend $100 and then you get like 2 games, so you save a little bit of money, like $20, I think. So there's probably some that got it for a little bit cheaper. I mean, my copy I got for free, so because a friend of mine was getting rid of his stuff, and he's like, "Do you just want Mario Kart?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Saves me $60 because back then I didn't want to pay $60 for it.
No, well, especially all the people who spent fucking 40 or 50, whatever it was, on the Wii U version, and it's like, oh, you got to buy it again for 60.
Yeah. I mean, they've made it
more content, but
yeah, and now with like the DLC. It's more appealing, but even then, I think you still have to pay more for that anyway. So,
well, DLC,
I don't know.
Nintendo is like one of the Nintendo really figured DLC out, like unlike other companies.
Yeah, I don't know. That New Horizons DLC wasn't very good.
They've gotten worse. They've gotten worse over time. They handled Mario Kart very well.
Mario Kart, they did. It took them forever to handle it right, though, like a long time. Because I feel like they didn't really know what to do with it. New Horizons. I don't know. New Horizons was that whole DLC thing was kind of a mess, but I think that came down to the game blowing up way more than they expected it to.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
in
that
fact,
was a
in
perfect
fact,
storm.
in fact, Gertzman said in his podcast, I'll reiterate it, that he's like, hey, what if, say, a launch title for the next Switch is a new Animal Crossing game? That maybe they pulled the plug on it so fast that they're just like the Animal Crossing team, like, hey, let's make a new one for the next Switch. We'll be there right there, like right at the start, and hopefully it'll be a better experience than New Horizons. Hopefully, maybe if it's closer to like a New Leaf or something like that. Because I know
Yeah.
some people did not like the New Horizons gameplay loop. I know I didn't
Yeah.
care for it at all. So I mean that's a possibility. But yeah, with DLC, I mean the Breath of the Wild DLC was okay. Smash, they had the DLC down. They had it down to a
Yeah.
fucking science because every couple months we all were like, "Who's the next fighter?" And it was always a talking point. So it's
And
weird
then
to think
they
it's
and then
been
they announced a
years since the last fighter. It's been years now.
oh yeah. And then they announced a new Fire Emblem character and everyone fucking cries about it for like an hour.
Yeah. But then I remember when they announced Joker and people shat their pants, and I'm like, "Who the fuck?" And I was like, "What, the DC character?" You
Yeah, and
know?
then it's like, oh, a game that you can't even play on the Switch at the time.
Yeah, I will be honest. The Joker reveal in Smash was probably when I first learned about Persona. Not even
My
kidding.
my favorite part was GameStops at the time because I knew some of I knew some of the employees at the local GameStop. They were telling me like because they put Joker in Smash, a bunch of kids would come to the store looking for Persona 5 and they'd be like, yeah, this game ain't for kids, bud.
Yeah, and it's on your PlayStation.
Well, at the time, yeah. Now it's like now it's
Well,
on
now it.
Switch, but
Well, yeah, now it's on everything. I wonder how well it sold on Switch. Did we ever get numbers on Persona, the Persona sales on multiple
I
consoles? I mean, I'm sure it did just fine,
I mean,
but
5 is the best selling game in the series. I'm pretty
it's
sure at
it's
this
it's
point.
well over 10 million. I know that.
Yeah,
But I think it's they put like Strikers and the dancing game in there as well. Or it was the base game and Royal. They
Well,
combined those together.
those are the same game. I don't think they could do the dancing and strikers because they're not even the same game. But
Let's see. Total sales, combined sales of all versions of Persona 5 at 7.2 million. That was by like April of last year. And so if you include Dancing, Strikers, and Tactica, the whole Persona 5 family is over 10 million sold. So, but still, like 7+ million for a ass long RPG like that is pretty good.
yeah,
So, no disrespect to 5, you know, it's just it is what it is. Um, but yeah, that was when I first learned of Persona. Was that because people were freaking the fuck out over it, and I'm like, what's a Persona? Who gives a shit? And then
yeah,
I looked it up, and I'm like, this is some anime bullshit, isn't it? And then over the years, I slowly got more and more interested in it. And then when they dropped Persona 4 on Steam, and then everyone treated that like a real big deal, I was like, let me see what the big deal is. And I bought it. I did buy it on Steam because it was $20, and I'm like, that's a pretty good price for that. You know,
for
that was that.
90 hours of content. Yeah,
Yeah, for a game that was almost a decade old at that point. The golden, putting it on Steam and it sold incredibly well. I think it sold like 1 million in like what, a month or something like
oh
that.
yeah,
It sold so well that Sega went, oh, you guys actually want these? Okay,
yeah,
and then they put them all everywhere. So they did listen. So credit to them, and that's where I think Sega, going back to like the whole Sega Atlas thing, I think that whole series of events happening is probably why Sega buying Atlas worked out so well, because I don't think Atlas could have done all that by themselves.
they couldn't
I
have.
really don't. I think
They were.
Sega helping to back them on that really helped get Persona to be like a multi-plat series that is now seen as like a big deal. You
I
know?
mean, people forget it took Persona 4 came out in 2008, and 5 would not come out until 2017 in the US. Like
Yeah.
Atlas it took Atlas a while to make 5 because it just cost a lot and they didn't have a lot of money at the time.
Are you still there, Bill?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, I thought you were still talking.
Oh.
are
Well, that was an awkward pause.
we having tech issues tonight? I don't know.
I don't think so. I'm not getting the pop up at all.
Okay, I don't know. It was weird stuttering. Um, I was gonna say because I was looking at my Steam page, and yeah, I've put over 25 hours into Persona 4 on Steam, and I was looking at yours. You only put 3 minutes into it, but I'm
Oh,
sure you
because I
have
play the Vita version.
thousands of hours on your Vita version.
Yeah, that's a game that I'm just more comfortable playing like at a couch, just on a handheld,
That's fair.
not behind a computer screen.
Yeah, that's fair.
I bought it on Steam mostly to support Atlas, and then I think I
I
also
bought
bought it on Switch.
Yeah, well, I bought it on Steam, yeah, because like people were freaking out about it, and I saw the price. I was like, that's not a bad price for what it is. Um, and then when I put like my initial like 20 hours into it, I got it. I totally understood, and I was like, let me go back and try Persona 5, and I was like, this is so boring. I'm so bored.
Yeah,
Eh,
five's it takes a bit to get into, but then
yeah,
once you get in, five has such a satisfying loop. You just have to get
yeah,
through it.
yeah. I'll one of these days I own Persona 5, so one of these days I'll eventually sit down and see what the big fucking deal is. But I will say what I've played of it, like I like the characters, I do like the story, the dungeons are fantastic. It's just like it's just a lot to do, you know,
Mm.
like when you get out of the dungeon, right? Like when you beat the first dungeon, and then it's like, oh, go do the social sim stuff. I just get overwhelmed because in Persona 4 it's all like nicely contained into just like a couple areas. And so it's almost just like, oh, let me go see if somebody's here, or somebody's there, and I can kind of prioritize because on the days it'll be like, oh, you'll do like these like two or three things, and it's like, oh, which one is the worth one doing? Whereas it feels like with 5, it's almost like quintuple that. Like you have like 10 fucking things you could do every day. And it's like, I don't know how to balance this. And I'm just afraid I'm going to do something wrong and fuck the game up 80 hours in and not realize it, Probably just
Five,
overthinking it.
it is to a degree because five is a lot more complicated, but five also has a lot of quality of life improvements that make getting through each day a lot easier than it is in like 4 or 3, especially.
I feel like the days in 4 aren't really that bad to get through. At least I
No,
didn't think they were.
they're not. But like some things, like if you don't know what you're doing, it is very easy to miss stuff in 4.
Yes, I will agree with that one for sure.
Like if you know the specific route or like how to do certain things, like 4 is trivial. Like
Mhm.
you'll pretty much finish all your social links way before you need to. Like
Okay.
because nothing's worse than 3, like original 3, because 3 you had to follow such a strict schedule, and if you missed one day, your entire game was pretty much ruined, and you weren't gonna get a perfect run.
Does the remake fix all that?
It did to a degree from what I've played. I definitely wasn't as stressed as in original 3.
Okay. For a persona tenderfoot like myself, for 3, would reload be like the way to go?
Honestly, yeah, probably in my opinion.
Okay. Because people have complained about reload, but they've complained about it in ways that's like, well, I don't know. I've never even played Persona 3. Haven't
If you
even
haven't played it at all, I'd play Reload.
I've never even bought it and had it shoved in a library for like 6 months, man. So I don't even have that.
Yeah, it's honestly the best because it uses all of five's gameplay enhancements, but it looks prettier and it's the story that a lot of people like. I don't love three's story as much as some people do, but I also just like four because four is sunshine and rainbows. So
Yeah, four is the one that like one of these days that when I decide to finally play through an entire Persona, it will be 4 because I love the vibe of 4. I love the characters. I love the combat. Like I love everything about Persona 4. Even the characters I hate. Like it's part of the whole experience. You know what I mean? So it's the game I want to see through to the end. It's just I'm tired of putting 30 hours into it and then putting it off and then just booting it up later.
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll just reload it on Steam, kind of a thing. But like, we'll see. We'll see.
or even like Xbox or something. It's on
Yeah, I could
there
get it
now.
on there. Yeah, It was on Game Pass, and I was tempted to download it when it was on Game Pass, but I didn't. So, though I wouldn't mind paying $20 for it to have it on there. Honestly, I probably wouldn't mind.
True.
In fact, let me see if it's on sale. I don't know why. When we just started talking, like this is the most I've talked in like the last day and a half.
Same.
And now, but like once we're talking, I'm like, am I getting sick? Like I don't know why. I feel fucking weird.
Well,
like,
I just did a.
I feel some sinus flare up here. I'm like, I'm not getting sick, am I? Because I'd rather not. Not when I actually have like time to chill out.
That's how it always happens. Like you're finally free, and then you get sick, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, not terrible though, but I don't know. Is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Any other major stuff happened recently, or is it's been pretty quiet?
Yeah, it's that time of year where it's like it's fairly quiet, like quiet on all the fronts, because there's not much happening. Because most people are like us, where they're just kind of taking a break until the new year. It's that period where it's like you don't want to do fucking anything until like we roll around to the new year. So.
Oh yeah, like me and Alex went out today because we had nothing to do, and we were gonna just use gift cards and stuff. And we had went out, and I was surprised at how there wasn't that many people around. And then I forgot because of how Christmas lined up this year. A lot of people had to work today.
On Wednesday.
Yeah, because Christmas was on Wednesday, most people got Christmas Eve off and not the day after. So a lot of people had to work today.
Yeah. Well, because apparently in the UK, the day after Christmas is called Boxing Day, and people tend to get that off, but not Christmas Eve off in the UK. So they treat it as like you work Christmas Eve, but then you get Christmas Day and then the day at Boxing Day off, kind of a thing. So, yeah, but this is like the first time I can recall where it's like the Christmas time and actually have like a fair amount of time off. Because usually it was like I would get maybe Christmas Eve off if I was lucky. I would get Christmas Day off, maybe the day after if I was lucky, like one of the two, and then it would just be kind of back to work. And it would just be complaining that whole time. I'm like, this is the 20th of December. This fucking sucks. I don't want to do shit. Like nobody wants to do shit, because nobody really wants to do shit in that awkward like week between Christmas and New Year. Like we don't really want to do anything. You just kind of want to chill. You just want to chill out and be like, it's the end of the year. Let's just relax.
That's why I always take this time of the year off, because I'm always like, I like to chill. It's quiet, spend time with family, and just relax.
Well, I finally have been able to do that, and it's nice. I like it. So I'll probably do it next year.
I don't know what my job situation will be next year, but hopefully I'll be able to do the same.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I think it might be better. So it's kind of, again, just waiting to see what happens with that. So
yeah.
Yeah. I finally played Balatro because Tony gifted it to us, and I completely understand Balatro now, like why people flipped out over how fucking great this game is, because it's pretty fucking great.
Yeah.
Though after putting, I think I put like 5-6 hours into it, and then I just like wasn't getting anywhere. So I kind of just stopped playing it because I had gotten to the point where I was at the end of a run. Like I was at the final boss, right? Because you have like 8 antes, which is basically like you'll have like 2, like the small blind, the big blind, and then the boss. And then you just do that 8 times. And then like, you build up your jokers and everything so you can score more points. And I was at the final one. I had a really good joker set. Like I was getting like 20, 30,000 of a fucking hand, man. I was killing it. But I misplayed in the final ante because I was trying to get rid of a king, and instead I played him. And I had like, I think 2 hands left. And I was like, maybe I can save this. And I didn't save it. And that was the farthest I had gotten. And I had even gotten close to that since. Well, the closest I've gotten since was the boss of Ante 6. So, I was getting, because as cool as Balatro is, it does have a lot of the issues I have with roguelikes.
Yeah.
And even with like deck builders, where it's like you build up a pretty decent deck and then you die, you lose the whole fucking thing and have to start over again. Like I just find that frustrating. I really don't find that fun. But Balatro was so addicting that I just kind of wanted to keep going to see what more stuff would happen. Like maybe I would get a better set later on, or maybe I could rekindle the magic. And it's a quick game. Like you can do like a 20-minute run, get pretty far, and then it's like, oh, that's Balatro, and you can kind of move on from it. It has like a bite-sized quality to it. It's a very well crafted game. It just still suffers from a lot of the issues with the genres that I have, personally speaking. So
Nice.
but it's good. I would play it over Slay the Spire. Never played Slay the Spire or Splay the Slyer even. And it looks like a game that I would not like at all.
Yeah. Speaking of games I played recently, I actually finally sat down and played a Stanley Parable for like the first time in like 10 years.
Oh, that was on my old Steam account. The one that I merged because I was looking at the stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I have Stanley Parable.
I finally got my 5-year achievement.
Honestly, I probably could if I booted it up on my old account, but probably not on my new account, which I've thought about doing because it would be cute, but I don't know if it's really worth doing. But
I forgot how dumb that game is, but I love it at the same time.
Yeah, I think I remember back in the day I put like 2-3 hours in it, and I thought I had scraped the game clean. I probably didn't.
Yeah, I streamed my whole experience, and I was like trying to find all of the secrets.
That's definitely a game that's like, if you want to do that, you're probably just best getting like a guide.
Yeah. I forgot about the adventure line. That was my favorite part.
See, I don't remember any of that. So
yeah.
I assume you can't upgrade your Stanley Parable to the Ultra Deluxe.
Probably
or you
not.
just have to pay for the Ultra Deluxe. I don't even know how much it is. Owners of the original get it off for the first 2 weeks. Well, we're well past that.
Oh yeah.
See, that's one thing that's annoying about Steam is it'll say like, oh, this game, like you're looking through your library and it'll say like, oh, the Ultra Deluxe version of this is out now, and you click it and it doesn't just link you to the store page. It'd be nice if you could just go straight there. Like that'd be nice, but oh well.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Ultra Deluxe, it's only $12.50. That's not bad.
That's not awful. That's probably you wait for a Steam sale.
Well, actually, it is on a Steam sale right now.
Oh, okay.
Because when I got the original Stanley Parable was $15.
Yeah, it was not a very expensive game.
But I thought it was a little high.
Well, yeah, for what it is, because it's not as big as it could be.
Yeah, but I think that's part of the point. So
true.
Yeah, I just threw it on my wish list. Who knows? Yeah, that's another issue I have with Steam is that trying to find like games on here, unless you know what you're looking for, just like browsing through it is a fucking nightmare.
Oh yeah, there's just too much shit on Steam.
Yeah, too much shit, which has its own issue. So it's like you have to like know exactly what you want, because like how they curate games for you, I think is fucking terrible. Like this is the most critical of Steam I've ever been in my life, but it has basically, it's like if you know what game you have, or if you have games already, it works perfectly. But the act of getting new games is a pain in the ass, unless it's like you've seen it somewhere else and you're like, oh, just let me go to the Steam page real quick, But it is what it is. Yeah, what's up with that point shop? I think I have points. I don't even know what you spend them on.
Yeah, I have no idea, to be honest.
Yeah, because weren't they? I'm sure they still do thing with like, oh, you have like cards, and I'm like, who the fuck cares about these cards? Is that like a thing? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like I like at least with Microsoft, they have like the reward point system where if you build up enough, it's like, oh, you can like redeem like a gift card, like an Xbox gift card, which is nice.
I mean, Nintendo kind of does that too with the gold coins. Like you'll get maybe like $5 off every now and then.
Yeah, Xbox is a little bit more generous with the points they give you for buying stuff. Like even when I gifted games to people, I got the points for them.
That's always nice.
That was nice of them. So yeah, I have 30,000 Steam points, and it's like, oh, you can like add like little like profile backgrounds, and I'm like, do people use these? I'm sure somebody does, but it's not me.
Yeah,
I don't even have all the achievements in a Steam game, at least on this account. I'm missing 2 on 7th Guest 25th Anniversary Edition. I'm debating on going back. Like apparently they're missing, or like hidden achievements, but I'm debating just finding out what those are and just figuring out how to get them just to do it, because I didn't like the Seventh Guest. But
Yeah.
it might be spoilers for when we play the 3DO version. But so I'm pretty sure this game came out in 3DO.
I think so.
Yeah,
Or maybe it was CDI. I don't know. We'll find out.
It may be both. Very well could be both. So
yeah.
And I think I have all the Army Men's on Steam. I think I do now. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Because I had the first one, and then you're just like, "Oh, I'll buy you the other ones."
Yeah, here's 2 in Toys in Space. Have fun.
Let me see real quick. Army Men. I have Army Men RTS, which I mean that game. It's $1.50, and it's a fucking great game.
Oh yeah.
There's a game called Green Army Men, which I don't think is.
I don't think that's really. Yeah.
God, I hope not. And then Army Men 2, and Toys in Space, which I mean, to be fair, they're all pretty cheap. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think that's it. I'm just gonna keep rambling.
Yeah. we got an hour out of this one, so that's not too bad.
Yeah.
But I think before we sign off, I think next week will be the final episode of the year. We're probably gonna go over just kind of some stuff for next year, what our plans are, maybe some of the favorite moments or something. Maybe we'll try to get guests on.
Yeah, it'll be like a year in review. We're not going to do anything too crazy.
Nah, and then we'll start next year off bringing back games and pretty much going forward. So.
Oh yeah. We do have some plans in the works. So
things to look forward to. But anyways, guys, once again, thank you for joining us on the 3DO experience. It's a little later this week, but I'm sure our fans will be happy that we got an episode out at all. But yeah, you can find us on all of the major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify. And be sure to check us out over on the Superpod Network. That's superpodnetwork.com. Be sure to check out Anti-Game of the Year Day 2. Me and Thrak were on that. It was a hoot. We learned many a thing. I have no idea what Hellblade or Helldivers is.
We found Bill's drinking limit.
We also found Nave's rage limit. So yes.
Everyone I've linked it to was just like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Be sure to check that out, and be sure to check out all the other awesome shows over on the network, including Superpod Saga, Super Ghost Radio, Retro Rehab, Tommy's Video Game Ride Along, A Novel Console, Bar Silence, Fine Time, The Elder Trolls Gaming Podcast, Remember 64, Gaming Together, Friday Night Gamecast, Gaming and Collecting, The 3DO Experience, Geek Addicts, Press B to Cancel, The Retro Wildlands, and the Pre-Order Bonus Podcast. And with that, everybody, we will see you all later.
Bye-bye.